Hello everyone, my name is Melissa McCurry and I'm a Design Management Fellow for Teachouts at the Center for Academic Innovation. And today I'd like to talk to you about the Teachout Model and what were some of the learner recommendations for improvement that we received in our research. So first I'd like to begin with an overview of the Teachout Model and then really dive into some of the research that we conducted for the 5-year impact report. And we'd like to share with you some of our findings or some of the learner recommendations for improvement. So the goal of the Teachout Model is to engage learners from all over the world with diverse backgrounds. A Teachout is unique in that it's a short experience that focuses heavily on engagement, for example, through discussion boards. One of our primary goals with the Teachout is to generate discussion and critical thinking about important topics and current events. So for example, right now we have a Teachout going on about the war in Ukraine. We also would like to provide resources for learners that allows them to further explore the content once the Teachout has closed. This looks very different depending on what the Teachout is. So for example, in the Ukraine Teachout, many of the resources we're providing are different ways that you can help or donate money to the Ukrainian people. So this year, the Teachout team just finished drafting a 5-year impact report. And in this report, the team really wanted to take a look at the learner experience and what feedback they had on how we can improve in future iterations. Me and my colleague, Jessica Browning, which I encourage you to go check out her video, took the following steps to better understand our learners. We analyzed learner pre- and post surveys from the completed Teachouts, and then we conducted learner interviews with learners across the globe who interacted with our Teachouts on Coursera. And from the survey data and from the interviews, we found that learners had many good ideas on how we can improve the Teachout model. Learners suggested incorporating more international perspectives. So for example, perhaps we can partner more with universities in other countries to create content that is less focused on the US. In addition to this, they recommended providing resources that are relevant to individuals outside of the US. Another important recommendation was the inclusion of more community voice or firsthand accounts from the individuals in the communities being covered. So for example, one of the learners I interviewed was a refugee from Afghanistan who is currently living in Indonesia. He took our Teachout on Afghan refugees, and he enjoyed it greatly, but he left the Teachout wishing that there was more community voice. Another learner that I interviewed in the Caribbean said something very similar. He had engaged with many different Teachouts that we offer, but the one that stood out the most to him was the Teachout that was filled with community voice as well as youth voices. Another recommendation is to take into consideration issues of accessibility. So for example, are we ensuring proper color contrast? Are we fixing transcription errors? Are we accommodating for individuals whose first language is not English? And then some more interesting recommendations are around social media and video. Learners really were thinking deeply about how we can improve engagement, and so some of the recommendations was to incorporate different social media. So for example, using Reddit, YouTube, or creating Facebook groups. When it comes to video, learners were also interested in experimenting with animation and music to make the videos more engaging. If you have any questions or would like to know more about the Teachout model, please feel free to contact me at this email. And thank you so much for listening to my talk today.